Welcome into our fourth chapter in Superhero Shoulders. In the first, we looked at alignment. In the second, we looked at mobilization. In the third, stabilization. And now we're beginning to develop some strength. We want to build strength around those shoulders to protect them. And one of the best tools for building full rotational strength in the shoulder is a kettlebell. So, let's begin. We're going to start with the Kettlebell Halo. This is like a more controlled version of our Conan swing with the hammer. So this is something that you could do with people who are a little less stable in their shoulder girdle before they move on to hammer work. They could start with the kettlebell. You're going to hold it upside down like so and take it around your head. I like to do 10 clockwise and 10 counterclockwise. And I want you to watch as it comes around behind my head. The kettlebell is turned down. I'm basically describing a circle around my face. That's a great warm-up exercise. After that, I want to look at the CrossFit kettlebell swing. So traditionally, kettlebells were swung just to chest height. CrossFit introduced an overhead swing, and that's typically what you'll see in a CrossFit workout. What I love about the swing is, for somebody like myself who came to CrossFit with limited mobility in the shoulder joints, I didn't have a lot of range of motion overhead and not a lot of strength there as a result. And the kettlebell swing forced me to practice getting that range of motion with some load. So it really helped to open up my shoulder girdle. This is what it's going to look like. So I want my ears in front of my arms at the top position, and you'll notice the kettlebell is slightly tipped forward. That's to avoid it tipping back toward the back of my head. So I want to have that forward angle on that kettlebell when it's overhead. One more time. So this is great in a workout or in a warm-up context. Either one will work. So next, I want to start developing some strength in the muscles of my back. A lot of us, for our posture, we had issues like this, pulling our shoulders in because we were tight and too strong in the front and too weak and lax in the back. So the kettlebell gives us some opportunities to work on those back muscles to pull the shoulders open. We're going to begin with the kettlebell high pull. Kettlebell high pull begins like a regular one-armed kettlebell swing. But as I get up to the top of it, I'm going to pull and punch. Pull and punch. So from the side, and what I want you to look for is my forearm is horizontal. If my elbow is down, the kettlebell is going to come over. If my elbow's up, it's going to feel really weird. The kettlebell is going to hang underneath. So I want to be horizontal, elbow to fist to kettlebell, so I can pull and punch. Watch one more time. So that's a great way to start working on those muscles of the back. And then we can take that all the way through to the kettlebell snatch. Kettlebell snatch is a great way for building shoulder strength. Now, I want you to watch this portion. A lot of the time, people kettlebell snatch, they have the kettlebell flipping over the top and banging them in the back of the arm, causing bruising. So I like Steve Cotter does a good explanation of this. If you hold the kettlebell with your thumb facing forward at the bottom of the swing, the kettlebell won't flip over. It will stay on this side of the arm. You won't get that impact. I'm going to demonstrate that here. And then finally, for more advanced versions, we're going to do the double kettlebell snatch. So kettlebells are also excellent for pressing overhead, and we can work one-sided from the rack position. I like to start here with my fist under my chin, and that allows me to get some rotation as I open up the shoulder joint, press, bring it back down, pull it in, press, and I'm getting some rotational strengthening here in that joint, which I wouldn't get with a barbell or necessarily a dumbbell. So that's a great way to develop some pressing strength. You can do that single-handed or you can do it double-handed. So we can do that with the 2 kettlebells at the same time. And you can even do alternating here. And unlike a barbell, we get some symmetry here where we can work our weak side independent of our strong side. So a great way we can work on pressing strength and stabilizing strength is to use a bottoms-up kettlebell press, where we're holding it like so. That requires a huge amount of stabilization as you press overhead. This can also be done with double kettlebells. So another way we can work on this is the half kneeling bottoms up kettlebell press, where I have one knee up, one knee down. And as you just saw, you can use that with either side, either the knee down side or the knee up side, and both of them create some challenge and instability. Another way to start developing some strength in those back muscles for good posture is a kettlebell farmer's carry. And on these ones you want to go relatively heavy, focusing on chest up, shoulder blades back as you go. Don't let yourself get into this slumped position. Always maintain good strong posture. When you can't maintain good posture, put the kettlebells down and rest. We can also do overhead carries. And this is going to help develop some stabilization here in this overhead position. If you need more challenge, you can go for double overhead carries. You can also work on bottoms up carries, either from this position here, or if you want a real challenge, all the way overhead. Next, we're going to go to the floor for a prone kettlebell arm bar, and this is a great way to get the position, the alignment that you want for your shoulders. So lying on your back, arm up overhead, kettlebell locked out, lift one leg to reach over and turn onto your side. Your head will end up lying on this arm that's overhead, and we want the shoulder blade to lock in with that kettlebell locked in position, and we're going to hold. This is a movement that you want to do with a fairly heavy load. I'm going to demonstrate it on the other side so you can see it from the other angle. Kettlebell locked out, arm overhead, use your leg to turn over and lock the shoulder blade down. You can see that shoulder blade locking against my spine. And while we're on the ground here, I want to go over one of my very favorites, the Kettlebell Turkish Get-Up. I love the Turkish Get-Up as a full body movement. It has so many different applications, but in particular for the shoulder, this movement, done with correct load, requires us to maintain awareness of our shoulder position all the way through the movement. You want to keep the arm vertical and the load directly overhead, and that kind of proprioceptive awareness helps you develop some shoulder awareness for other movements to keep your shoulders healthy and strong and keep them in a mechanically strong and stable position throughout movements under load. So we're going to demonstrate it here. So arm is locked out. From here, I'm going to roll to my side, up into my elbow, coming up to a full stand, and I'm not done until I come back down. And I'm going to demonstrate one time on the other side so you can see from that angle as well. And here's a fun little game that I learned from Dan John. It's a kettlebell pressing Turkish get down. So we're going to start from the top position of the Turkish get up. We're going to move our way down, pressing at each stop. So from here, the kettlebell overhead, I'm going to press. Put my knee down, press. Rotate my leg, put my hand down, press. Step through, sit down on my hip, press. And down to the floor and press. And then I can repeat on the other side. It's a fantastic warm-up drill. It doesn't take very long to get everything warmed up this way. And finally, here's a little movement that will challenge your hip and shoulder flexibility for the fittest, most mobile people. It's a double kettlebell Turkish get-up.